New York Times bestselling author Bruce Feiler is here with his new book called The Search. Bruce, welcome back. Tell us about The Search.
Thank you, George. It's nice to be with you. So as you know, I've spent the last 6 years trying to help people navigate life transitions, traveling across the country, collecting hundreds of life stories of Americans of all backgrounds, all 50 states, helping them find meaning and purpose in times of change. But nothing is a source of greater change these days than work. I mean, the numbers are staggering. 70% of Americans are unhappy with what they do. 3/4 of us plan to look for new work this year. That means 100 million Americans are going to sit across from someone they love today, as you and I are right now, and say, I'm not happy with what I'm doing, and I want to do something that makes me happy. And so what I've tried to do in The Search is first gather these inspiring stories of Americans who found happiness by making a change in their work, but really then give people a toolkit for finding that happiness yourself. I call it 21 questions
So how
to
is
find
it
work
different
you
from
love.
other kinds of books about interviewing and resume writing?
Because a lot of the conversation in the career space is about finding a job, right? Brush up your resume, call your contacts. But the problem with that is soon enough you'll be back in the same spot unhappy because people don't do the work to figure out what it is that they want to do. So I would say the number one thing I've learned in this process is that the people who are happiest and most fulfilled in their work, they don't just climb, they also dig. They do what I call personal archaeology. They go on this kind of treasure hunt to figure out what did they learn from their parents, right? Who were their role models? What are their deepest dreams and their truest feelings about what they want to do today?
So flip it around. What is it that makes people unhappy in
So
their work?
what makes people unhappy is if they're chasing someone else's dream, not chasing their own dream. Okay, particularly your parents or your colleagues or your neighbors. That's the problem, right? So, and then what happens now is there's much more fluidity in the process, right? People go through what I call a work quake every 2.5 years.
Yeah, what is that? Define that.
Yeah, right. So a work quake is a moment where you rethink or reimagine what it is you want to do, okay? We go through 20 in the course of our lives. But this is an opportunity to figure out, what do I want to be doing today?
What if people don't feel they have the freedom
Right.
to search for what they want to be doing?
Right, exactly. I think that's it. One of the questions I ask people is, how did you give yourself permission? And I think what they say is that, like, the fear of jumping is greater than the fear of staying.
So break it down. What are the steps people can take if they want to go through a job or career transition?
Right. So this process of this, as I say, this treasure hunt that you do in your life, let's start, like any good story, it has a backstory, right? So what are the upsides and downsides about work that you learn from your family? A great question to ask is, who were your role models other than family as a child? Because in effect, that's the first choice you make about work. And then you want to look at today, like answer a couple of simple questions. I'm at a moment in my life when I want to do work that, like for some of it might be making money, for some is I want to prioritize time with my family, for others it might be giving back or public service or self-expression. And then ask this very simple question about looking ahead. My purpose right now is blank.
So you're asking people to interview themselves?
I'm asking people exactly to update their life story. That's the essence of what you're doing. You have a work story, and you need to figure out how to tell that story yourself.
You interviewed someone we had on GMA, Trevor Buffoni. He was a dancing teacher. How does he demonstrate how purpose and passion can change?
Well, what Trevor said to me is that basically life had other plans for me. He set out down one path, okay, and then he changed. He lost his father, and then he was actually sitting with his students, and they were doing these TikTok videos, and he figured this is a way to connect with them. And I think that the lesson that we can learn from him is what all of us can take. And so my invitation is, if you want purpose, if you're frustrated and you don't know what to do, if you come on this journey across America and meet people like Trevor and hundreds more, you can begin to build a life, to find the happiness you seek, the meaning you crave, and the success you deserve on your own terms.
Thanks for coming in again. The Search is
pleasure.
available now.